invasion began a week ago. Kherson, a key port city in the south, is in the hands of Moscow's troops, according to its mayor. Svetlana Zarina is a language teacher who lives there.
A lot of houses are burned. Russian soldiers are all over the city. It's very scary because we hear a lot of explosions and we're trying not to leave because I'm here with my grandmother now. We have enough food for a couple of weeks, so we try not to leave because it's very dangerous.
British intelligence says Russian forces heading for the capital, Kyiv, have made little discernible progress in 3 days. The UN says the number of people fleeing Ukraine into neighbouring countries has now passed 1 million. Ian Duncan-Smith says Russia is now feeling the sanctions imposed on the country. The former Conservative leader says he thinks about £150 billion has been wiped out in the country because of that. And he's told us the UK will go even further next week.
We are on Monday bringing in another bill which will allow us to get after what we call the enablers. That's the lawyers, that's the estate agents who help squirrel away the money into property and all sorts of other areas. They're going to be absolutely legally bound to announce out any dealings they have with any of these individuals that are sanctioned.
In other news, a year after her murder, Sarah Everard's family say they miss her all the time. They say they've been overwhelmed by the public support since she was killed in South London. And almost all of London Underground lines are completely suspended as of 7 a.m. this morning as tube workers took a second day of strike action in a week. Dry this morning in many areas of the UK with some sunshine in the southeast, though in western areas it will be wet with some heavier rain for a time across the southwest. Tom Clayton has the sports.
The International Paralympic Committee has announced that athletes from Russia and Belarus will not be allowed to compete in the Beijing Games. Several countries had criticised the decision to allow athletes to take part under a neutral flag, but that has now been reconsidered ahead of the Games getting underway tomorrow. President of the Games, Andrew Parsons, says he believes politics and sport should not mix.
However, it is clear that maybe now, due to the current situation, that is no longer possible. The war has now come to these games, and behind the scenes, many governments are having an influence on our cherished event.
The Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel says he's not thinking about his own future following the revelation that Roman Abramovich is selling the club. Tuchel spoke after his side avoided a shock in the FA Cup fifth round, twice coming from behind to win 3-2 at Luton. Tuchel says he remains focused on just one thing.
I want to lead the club tomorrow in tomorrow's training and the next match Saturday on Burnley. You know, same answer. I'm not a CEO. I'm not a member of the board. I'm football manager, and that's what I do.
Hi, Mark. Just checking if you can hear us all right.
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Hi, Mark. Yes, I'm going to come to you in a few minutes after
I can see Mark.
our first guest. Amazing. So, yeah, we're going to come to you after Susan, Mark.
Right.
If you could just stay on mute until then.
I'll be here.
Yes. Could you mute up until then?
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much.
Their job was to pull you back to earth all the time. Back to earth. Hey, we've had better players in here. We've done this before. You get your feet on the ground, play for the team, make sure we turn up tomorrow. We're ready for training.
And Susan will be with you soon.
Victory,
okay.
Never get a pat on the back. Never get well done. This is what we do. This is why you're here. We can replace you if you don't want to join in with us, but we're going on to the next game.
And the draw for the FA Cup quarter-finals is prior to Everton's clash with non-league Boreham Wood tonight. That's live on Talk Sport from 7 o'clock.
This is
Susan, is it Kirsch Kibler? Is that how we say it?
Yeah, Susan Kirsch Kibler. Or you can just use Susan Kibler if you want.
So embarrassing. We'll have to get changed in a lay-by. Oh, look, McDonald's. See, they're doing a chicken Big Mac. Probably best to just blend into the crowd after. It's not like we're family.
Welcome back, the Chicken Big Mac. But hurry, it's only here till 15th of March. Served after 11 a.m, subject to availability at participating restaurants until the 15th of March.
Times Radio Breakfast. Good morning to you. It's 8:35. Not many of us knew that much about Ukraine a week ago, but we began to build up a picture of the country. One jigsaw piece that interested us, and many of you, in fact, was how Ukraine is a center of international surrogacy. There are perhaps thousands of women who are currently carrying surrogate babies for Western couples. So what's happening to them? Let's talk to Susan Kirsch-Kibler, who started a company called Delivering Dreams, which is an international surrogacy agency based in Kyiv in Ukraine. Good morning to you, Susan.
Good morning.
Tell us what you're seeing, hearing from families, from women who are currently pregnant in Ukraine with surrogate children. What are they having to do?
Well, the experience right now is pretty terrifying for all Ukrainians, the same as for the IP and the surrogates. The families are, for the most part, the parents are extremely anxious, some of which are just downright panicking. The surrogate mothers themselves are rather calm, although that it's conditions of war, and they're very concerned for their families. We choose them because they are calm, and it's amazing when they're on phone calls with the parents that they still are relatively calm. The major problem seems to be the concerns. We were able to move them very, very early on, weeks before we were to the western part of the country, Lviv. And that was even a challenge. The women did not want to move because they felt that they were actually in no harm at all and that the war would never come. And at this point, the parents are desperate to get them out of the country. However, Lviv is still safe, very safe. There's not been a lot of activity in the west of the country. And with the medical facilities there that are so amazing, at this point, they're staying there.
And what about the situation because we saw some stories of people who were some British people, for example, who are in Ukraine waiting to take their babies home after they were born by the surrogate mums. But how many situations are there like that, do you think?
There are quite a few. The ones we're dealing with ourselves are people that really planned ahead, but you can't always plan ahead. There are some couples that had premature births in cities like in Kiev, and there's where you're having a huge problem because right now you can't get in, you can't get out. There are also some surrogates that have simply been abandoned by their agency, and it's been hard for the surrogate or impossible for the surrogate to make contact with their parents and the parents to make contact with them. And there's been a large group of agencies working together to try to connect those people.
Despite this terrible situation, I mean, what a situation to be in. There have been some nice stories to come out of this, including people being reunited.
Yes. We've been celebrating every one of those because it's such a situation where it's hard to find things to celebrate, that we've had people that have been very, very pregnant and looking for their parents and found them. We actually had one UK couple, and we had one that had given birth. We had another that was so early on that their agency had told them that she should actually terminate the pregnancy. And she said she didn't want to, and she wanted to find the parents. And so a group of agencies and a group of IP, we all kind of got together and did this massive search, and we were able to reunite them. And it's just a wonderful story.
Oh, absolutely. And there's also a story, reported story that up to 400 Ukrainian surrogate mothers could be given refuge in Ireland. Have you heard about this?
Yes, but I'm not directly involved.
Do you think that would be a good idea?
Yeah, it depends on the women. A lot of women don't want to move. A lot of the surrogates simply do not want to move because they believe this is their country and this is where their children, their mothers, their entire life has been, and they believe that they want to stay there forever.
Yes.
This has been a bit of a
Susan, thank you.
This has been a
Go
real
on.
conflict point between the intended parents and the surrogates at some points.
I'm sure it has. Susan, thank you so much. That's Susan Kirsch-Kibler. She started a company called Delivering Dreams.
Thank you very much, Susan.
You're welcome.
Mark, we're going to come to you now.
About 20 minutes ago, about Mark Lang, chairman of Nairn's Oatcakes, which is based in Scotland, has said he will offer jobs to Ukrainian refugees. Mark is with us now. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
How serious does
quite a number of jobs throughout Scotland and throughout the UK in the hospitality industry and public services and many other areas that could offer jobs to people in such great distress and start to help to get them on the road to re-establishing safe and secure lives.